Absalom is gonna hang by his hair.
Come now and let us reason together. Come now, we can talk it over.
Hey, what's up guys? Joel's back with another reasoning session, and today I'm going to be doing things a bit different. I'm actually going to be paraphrasing from the text itself, and this is just an example of how the prophetic timeline actually ties in as recurring, because all things were created with this living logos. So it basically is a fractal manifesting not only the past but also the present, and likewise will create the future. So we mustn't take these stories lightly. We must actually realize that this is the very essence that manifests our physical reality and the timelines which we experience. And so I'm going to go over that in this episode. But if you like these videos, you can also check me out on Rumble or on Zappit, and like the videos, watch all the way to the end, because it definitely lets the algorithm promote these videos so that other people can find the same message. But with that out of the way, I'm just going to jump right into it. The text today is taken from excerpts of the second book of Shmu'el, from chapter 15 through chapter 18, but with the storyline paraphrased in relevance to our current situation and what's about to unfold, having translated key names and the Hebrew words into their English parallels. I'm going to be posting the parallel in the authorized version on the screen, but I'm going to put the translated words in red so you know which words I'm talking about. I'll also put insets in the video to show you just what I'm talking about when dealing with some of the more elusive metaphors, but they're practical to our own time. This is what it says. A conspirator who sought to self-appoint himself as king devised a conspiracy to overthrow the kingdom. He prepared vehicles and men to go before him, praising him. The conspirator would say to the people who had strife or contention, "You are good and right, but nobody is deputed from the king to hear you," meaning he's really not all that concerned with you. Further, he said, "Oh, that I were king. I would give every man justice." In this way, the conspirator that sought to make himself the king did this to the whole nation, and in this way stole the hearts of the men of the nation. After 4 years of this, the self-appointed king sent people out to backbite and slander, and said to them, "When you hear the trumpet, you shall say that I am king in the land." The self-proclaimed king sent for the foolish advisor of the rightful king, and the conspiracy was strong, for the people increased continually with the conspirator. And word came to the rightful king that the people had voted the conspirator to the throne. Then the rightful king had to flee from office, and took those close to him with him, so his capital city would not be attacked. And all his supporters pledged their allegiance to him. He also took his family with him. The rightful king said to those with him that had come out from the land of the giants, "Pass over with me." And so they did. And all the country wept with a loud voice as all the people passed over with him. The rightful king passed over the torrents of destruction of the speech of the dark, mournful, blackish. And all people passed over the manner of speech. The righteous that clears from charges were joined to the rightful king, and they lifted up the covenant pledge between God and man. The rightful king said unto the one trying to clear his name, "Carry the covenant pledge between God and man back to the capital city, and if I shall find acceptance in the government of seed time harvest, he will bring me again and show me both it and his habitation. But if the government of seed time harvest says, I have no delight in you, then let him do what he wills." And the rightful king said to the prophet, "Return to the capital, but do it in peace, you and your whole prophet guild, and recompense, who is the son of the chief ruler. See, I will delay in this barren open field, and make a speech until there comes word from you to certify me." So the prophet and their guild carried the covenant pledge between God and man back to the capital city, and they tarried there. And the rightful king left weeping, and all that went with him. And someone told him that the foolish and folly-filled counselor that used to be his was among the conspirators. And when the rightful king came to the top where God was to be worshipped, his longtime friend came to meet him with his coat rent and red upon his head. The rightful king told him, "If you stay with me, you will be a burden to me. But if you return to the capital and say to the self-proclaimed leader, 'I will be your servant,' then you will defeat the counsel of the foolish and those full of folly. And whatever you hear of the fake leader's counsel, tell it to the prophets and the priest and their guild, and recompense the priest's son. And by them you shall send me everything that you hear." So the friend of the rightful king came into the capital city, as the self-appointed king came into the capital city. And the rightful king's enemies began to curse him, and they cast stones at the rightful king and at all those with him. They called out, saying, "Impeach, impeach, you violent and vulgar man." When they did, some of the rightful king's supporters wanted to retaliate with physical violence. But the rightful king said, "Let them curse me. It may be that the government of seed time harvest will look upon my trouble and will recompense me and recover me and return me as the rightful ruler." So the rightful king and his men went along, and the aggressors went alongside him on the hill and cursed as he went and threw stones at him and flung dirt. And the rightful ruler and all that were with him became weary and refreshed themselves there. The foolish and filled with folly counselor came unto the conspirator and advised the self-appointed king with very immoral counsel that would make the rightful king look bad to the people. The people listened to the foolish counselor as if his words were the words of God himself. Now the foolish counselor said to the self-appointed king, "Let me pursue the rightful king and make him afraid. In this way we will make all the people that are with him run away from him, and I will kill only him. And I will bring all the people back to you. Then once the rightful king is gone, the people will have peace." This pleased the self-appointed king and his people. But then he asked the longtime friend of the rightful king, who was pretending to be the self-appointed king's advisor, what he would do. He advised against this. He added, "You know the rightful king and his supporters are mighty people, and right now they are angry like a bear robbed of her cubs. The rightful king is a man of war, and they are hiding out. And if you try this, and your people start falling, even the most valiant that follow you will get afraid." The self-appointed king then acknowledged the better advice, after which the counselor of the rightful king relayed the self-appointed king's plan to the prophets. The prophets then warned the rightful king of the planned attack, that he should get ready and get to a place where he could fight. The rightful king then followed the advice with all his supporters. Then the self-appointed king came after the rightful king to destroy him, so that his followers would quit following him. And when the rightful king came to grace and favor, the captive son of the snake of a great multitude of the nation of those that were sold, who begin to say, "My kinsman is God," they said, "No more oppression from rocky places living in bitterness." They all came and put their support with the rightful king. The rightful king numbered the people that were with him, and set captains of thousands and captains of hundreds over them. Then he set a third part of the people under the hand of the forefathers, and a third part under the gift of the forefathers, and a third part to seek a quarrel. The rightful king wanted to go personally into battle with his people. But the people said, "No, let us do it. If we run, they don't care. If half of us die, they don't care. You are worth 10,000 of us. It is better that you help and protect us outside the capital city." So the people of the rightful king went out to meet the self-appointed ruler. The battle was in the wood, the thick place of double ash heap. there was a great plague of 20,000 men, for the battle was scattered over the face of the country, and the wood devoured more people that day than the sword. The self-proclaimed king's head got caught in a network, and he was taken up between the heavens and the earth, and his vehicle went on. And the forefathers took 3 darts and thrust them through the heart of the self-proclaimed king. And 10 men rallied around and beat the self-appointed king and slew him. And the founding fathers sounded a trumpet. And they took the self-proclaimed king and cast him into a pit and laid a heap of great stones upon him. And the people that followed the self-proclaimed king fled back to their homes, and the rightful ruler became king again. And in the next chapter, which is the 19th chapter, we see the restoration of King David in this whole story. And I know I've talked about the 45th chapter of the Oracles of Ishayahu earlier, dealing with how number 45 actually embodies that whole anointing. And what we're looking at is actually the 45 showing up and destroying that whole corporation and reinstituting the Constitution, or as it says in the text, the Ark of the Covenant, the covenant pledge between God and man. And that is embodied in the 19th chapter of the book of Shmu'el, when King David actually returns to his office as rightful king. And that, my friends, will actually be when this self-same person, DJT, actually reassumes the presidency of the actual Constitution and becomes the 19th president of the constitutional United States. And this is all playing out much quicker than we can anticipate. Like literally over the next little while, we're going to see this unfold. I know I've been optimistic through this whole process, even with the lockdowns, but right now we're coming to a head, and what has been going on under the surface, fighting the evil from under the surface, is actually bubbling up and will actually erupt into the public eye, and it will be so public that even the lamestream media and all these people perpetrating and peddling this false narrative won't be able to hide the truth any longer. So stay optimistic, guys, because this wave is crashing on this shore, and it's very, very fast approaching. This Red Sea time is fast coming to a close. The waters will be crashing down on our enemies, and we will safely be on the other side once this all happens. So pick up the pace, get to the other side, and don't be dismayed by what you're seeing in the media, because their days are numbered, and it literally is over for them. On the surface, they talk tough, but behind closed doors, they're shaking in their boots. So I love you guys. I'll check you in the next reasoning sesh. Joel signing out once again. Agape, Salaam, Namaste, Shalom. Watch all the way to the end, because it definitely lets the algorithm, because it definitely helps the algorithm promote these videos.